Everyone, welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. We're going to have an interesting discussion here about Windup. I was hoping that a special guest would join us, so maybe they will. But if not, we'll soldier on because Mark did attend Windup, so he can be our man on the ground. But before we do that, should we do a wristwatch check? Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Ooh, yeah. So I am wearing my Christopher Ward C60 Limpston. This is part of their military range, and it's named after Limpston, which is home of the Royal Marines. And lovely watch with a forged carbon dial, so each dial is unique. It has a compass bezel, which is less successful because it's not clicked, so you can never set it back to north. But on the matching brushed or coated bezel, it's a real stunner.
Somebody made a fromage of it. I'll have to find it. But I noticed on another YouTuber that made it was reviewing a fromage of that.
But I suspect that if you like this watch, get on it fairly quick. I didn't see it on the CW stand at Windup, so that tells me it's on its way out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. This website makes awful versions of watches, and they've actually made an awful version of the moon phase as well. Maybe we'll talk about it later. Todd, what are you wearing?
Well, apropos, I am wearing my Spinnaker Sec-on 50 Phantoms. Excuse me. Let's back this up. There she is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
very cool.
Yes, I love they really did a great job with this, and for the price point, this is the second batch. For the price point, it's really, really good. Can't get much better.
Excellent, cool. And then I'll finish off. I'm wearing my Seiko Solar Diver on the Long Island Watches Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah, how do you like the bracelet?
Yeah, it's actually really good. It's got the Seiko jangle to it, which is cool. you know,
specially built in, huh?
It's specially Mark at Long
Island
jangled. Specially designed this to make it have that jangly feeling of he's hit it spot on. No, it's actually really good. It's got screw-in link. He didn't. This isn't paid promotion. I bought this. Screw-in links. Actually, really good. I forget the name of this flipping. I forget the code of the diver. The SN something. Somebody will put it in the chat if anybody knows. But it's sports diver. Cool. Okay. Well, before we dive into it, let's just say hello to everyone. Kevin, hello. Kevin. Eric's a new member. Thank you very much for joining, Eric. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Orange Hand, afternoon. John, cheers for joining, John. And then who else we got? Chili Badger, thanks for joining. Chris J, thanks for joining. Watch Addict, thanks for joining. He says he's got a Seiko 5 GMT.
Good job.
Zin 556 from Eric. Brassic Time, welcome. Junior, another member. Thank you, Junior, for joining her. And then I think we're just a repetition. Watch Egg says just saw the CW Elite has been taken off the site, maybe discontinued. Makes sense if true because the Lumiere, which is well, I actually asked whether the Lumiere was a spiritual successor, and they said no, and I would agree with that because they're both titanium for sure, but the Lumiere is part of the C60 Trident 300 line. It's not part of the CW Elite 1000, and hopefully they have discontinued because mine might go up in value. But anyway,
well,
it's a great watch.
It probably won't lose anymore.
Hey, I think that is. We've got to talk. We've got to set our clocks. We've got to do at least 15 minutes of Christopher Ward talk every episode. I think that's their. Yeah, I think that's their magnum opus or whatever it's called. I've a dive watch, the best that they've ever made. That Elite 1000. I love mine.
And for Orange Hand, I have counted the Phantoms, and there are 50. One of them's hiding under one of the hour markers. But yes,
you can actually see, but you see the little bit of the outline, do you?
You see a little bit of the bottom of him. So.
Awesome. Okay. Well, guys, we'll do a bit on wind up, and Mark can give us a quick synopsis there.
Mhm.
I'll some pictures, but then we'll definitely start doing some new release stuff as well. And as always, if you got any questions, dive into the chat. And is Casual Watch Reviews is a front for CW? I mean, just look at those initials. No, it definitely isn't. It definitely isn't Christopher Ward talk.
No.
Or Christopher Ward reviews.
Christopher Ward reviews. Christopher Ward reviews.
I should have worn my bel canto. Dang it! You could have come in at it.
Okay, let's share the screen, and then Mark, you could talk us through a bit of these as we go through. So last weekend was, let me just preface this. Last weekend was the Windup Watch Fair in New York. I missed this year. I did go to the last year, but it looked even more fuller. Mark, was it fuller than last year? By the picture.
So this is the 4th location for Windup. The previous location was 10,000 feet, 10,000 square feet. This is now 30,000 square feet.
Ooh, wow.
It's split over 2 floors. They had space for a bar, and I think that was sponsored by Brugladach, the whiskey. And they had a space for panels or talks. They actually did have a green room space, which is very, very welcome if you needed somewhere to hide and sit down when you're away from the madding crowd. Brew had sponsored a coffee bar, so there was a little place you could buy coffees there too. It was jammed.
Wow.
The line, I've never seen as long a line on a Friday at noon. Noon on Friday. Went along Fifth Avenue and was halfway down 38th Street. So that was just to get in on the Friday. There were 146 brands, including the EDC, brands from 17 countries. And it was busy. You're not seeing it at its busiest here. These are just some of the photographs I just took off my phone. But yeah, so lots of brands that had never been there before, lots of brands that are just starting out. And then you have the old stages like Christopher Ward and so on. But it was an amazing experience. There were times when it wasn't for the claustrophobic. So if you want, if you don't like crowds, go on Sunday. But even on the Saturday, they were having to control numbers in the building at 5 o'clock in the evening, and it shuts at 6. So they were controlling numbers on the Saturday at 5 o'clock in the evening for the 1 hour shutdown. So very, very good event. It's nice that they've got the event space. They had the room for a lot of brands. I don't know that they want to expand anymore. They're calling it the world's biggest watch event, which I think in simple number of brands, they're probably right. No reason to disbelieve them. But for a watch event in a single building, I'd say this is king. Definitely worth a visit. It's just that it's going to be busy if you're there at the wrong time. But perfect event.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it made me smile there because when I first moved to the US, I had a Canadian colleague that I worked with, and we decided to start making a list of everything that said world's best, world's greatest, world's biggest. Because there was a moving company in California where we lived, and it was like the world's best moving company. But I mean, how could you prove it? You can't.
Well, the thing is that if you walk out of Madison Square Garden, it says the world's most famous arena, and I'm thinking, nah, Wembley.
Exactly.
It depends where you're from.
Well, Wembley's open air, right?
But they call it an arena.
Okay.
So. Yeah. And I still don't think it's the world's most famous one either.
What about the what about the Colosseum?
Colosseum,
yeah. There you go. Although we do have a Colosseum at the Hard Rock here in Orlando, and I mean they must just be very similar. Okay, next photo up here. Oh, this is just some more shots, is it, of the?
Oh, wow.
Of the
Yeah,
crowd?
just so was the general layout. And
Yes,
this
that's
is
good, Morgan.
Christopher Ward had probably the biggest stand there. So they had their little studio. So they had, if you look at the top above where that guy in the marvelous blue shirt is standing, there's a big LED light in a softbox. And they have a table with another LED light, a tripod where you could put your phone and do wrist shots under proper lighting conditions. It worked really well. And that's just in focus is Andrew Morgan and his other half. So
that's him there. Okay,
one of
you're
the
right.
superstars.
Yeah,
of the
working
show.
hard on another top 10 list there.
Yep. Ooh, harsh but fair.
Awesome. Okay, and then we've got this is.
This is if you ever listen to the Scottish Watchers podcast, the guy in the check shirt is Misael, who is the show notes king, and he has a concierge in the US for Isotope, Horage, and somebody else. So he was standing in for Jose on Isotope. So this was his first show as first trade show as a vendor. So he didn't get the right shoes on Friday, did get the right shoes on Saturday and Sunday, because even when you're 20 or 21, you're going to get backache.
Yeah.
And that's his buddy Joel. So they were pretty slammed because they were on the ground floor just around the corner from Christopher Ward.
Awesome.
And that Christopher Ward stand was 3 deep for 3 days.
Awesome. Our guest has joined. Let me just add him in. Yeah.
Cool.
TGV, welcome.
Hello. I apologize about being late. I had to install Chrome, and it was a nightmare. So.
The StreamYard. It'll get you every time. For some reason, my mic doesn't immediately connect when I go live. But thank you so much for joining us.
No, it's a pleasure. Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, all good. We just finished the wristwatch check. I don't know if you got time to do one. What are you wearing?
Yeah. The Handheart 417 ES Red Lion.
Okay.
Is this focusing? Maybe I got manual focus on this, which is pretty good. There you go.
That's good.
That's lovely.
Really good.
That Handheart is truly great. It's a lovely watch. They've really done a good job with it.
They have indeed. Yeah. Sorry, what were you guys? I'm not familiar with all of you, so what are you guys wearing?
Yeah, Todd, do you want to? Yeah, or Matt, you go first.
Okay, so I am wearing a Christopher Ward C60 Limpston.
Oh wow! Okay, that looks some serious business right there.
Yeah, it's stainless steel, so it's heavy. It's on a bracelet. So.
Nice. Is that a compressor?
No, it's got a compass bezel. So that's what the second crown is for, the compass bezel. So it's not a compressor case; it's a standard dive case.
Right.
But it's got a.
Of course, because the bezel's on the outside. Right, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's an inner bezel for the compass. And that's what the second crown. That's what the second crown controls, and then there's a dive-ish time bezel on the outside.
I'm not even familiar with that. When did that come out?
Let me see. It's 21 or 22, I think.
Right.
It's part of their military range. So on the back, it's got the symbol for the Royal Marines, hence the name Limpston, which is where the Royal Marines are based.
Right, that makes sense. Very cool. What about you, Seiko Todd?
Yes, sir. I was showing this earlier. I'm wearing my Spinnaker 50 Phantoms as kind of a
wow. That's crazy.
Tipping of the hat to this Halloween season. So if you're not familiar with this one, it's obviously it's a play on the 50 Fathoms, and there are 50 Phantoms on the dial, and it has a spectacular luminescence. So at night, it's just really fantastic because
they're all loomed up.
They're all loomed up, and so they all show up fantastic. And on the bottom, instead of saying 50 Phantoms, it says no feet, meaning Phantoms don't have feet. Even though I think that, even though it's a dive watch, so I think it's good to 150 or
neat.
250.
Yeah, I
So
like
no
that.
feet. So it's a very clever ploy that Spinnaker partnered with Second out of France, and they did the design for the dial, and it's just a fun thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. They sold that one out fast, didn't they? You got the much coveted first edition, didn't you?
I think I got the second batch.
The second edition.
I think I may have missed the first one, the second batch. They have a different style now that they also have they have one where you can get this where all the phantoms are on the dial, and they have one now where they're all on the bezel. So they've been released from the watch. They're on the bezel now, and it's actually either count up or count down bezel because from 1 to 15 seconds, there are no phantoms. So you can probably properly use it as some form of dive instrument, perhaps. But it's brilliant.
You're going to upset a lot of dive watch fans now. We're fighting in the comments that
they're gonna like yeah you don't know much about diving, do you? No, I don't.
For all the dive watches that I own, I really don't care. It's such a fun idea. I mean, let's face it, I'm never going diving with any of my dive watches.
Awesome. Well, we were just going through the wind-up day, actually. TGV.
Oh,
we'll
cool.
Yeah,
nice. Sorry,
Mark,
I have to know. Sam, what are you wearing? I'm sorry, I have to ask.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm actually wearing these. Let me just go. The Seiko. I forget the name of it. It's the Seiko Solar. Seiko Solar dive watch. Nice. I've got it on one of Mark's Jubilees that he.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It looks really good on that bracelet.
Yeah, it's really good. I said he's got the Seiko jangle perfect on this.
The jingle jangle, nice.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, a lot of engineering's gone into that into getting that jangle just right.
Or
lack of, probably.
Does Mark actually sell a tool to make your bezel misalign if by chance you get one that's actually properly done?
No, I was very disappointed.
I think he should.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. This bezel perfectly aligns. I wonder if it's a fake.
I was going to say that's not a real Seiko.
It's not real.
No. Absolutely. Actually, I just noticed Russell's joined us, Mad Watch Collector. Russell, thanks for joining us. Evening all, being the
look who it is. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, Russell's been blazing a trail on TikTok. He's been going live on TikTok, I think, most days this week. I don't know whether he's the first watch YouTuber to do it, or I mean, I know there's a couple of the dealers that do it, but yeah, he's been trying to blaze a trail. So we'll see how he gets on before the rest of us try and go live. So yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we actually, TGV, this is a great time because Mark took a bunch of photos, and I think this one kind of illustrates. He said this wasn't even when it was at its busiest.
Yeah, actually, I remember it even busier than that. But then, where was this? Was this upstairs or downstairs?
This is downstairs. So you had when you walk in, you have the stairs that go straight up. You'd walk past Christopher Ward and turn right. So this is there's about 20 or 30 brands here on the ground floor. Right. And then the other 100 or so were on the top floor.
Yeah.
So this is taken from the stairs that if you had media access, you could go up because it led to the green room. And so this was taken
I didn't even know there was
sometime on Friday. Sometime on Friday. But what you'd see is the downstairs would crush. Everyone would look at downstairs, and then the upstairs would fill. So you had this sort of resonance between which bit was full, as though people looked and go upstairs. It's crammed. Let's go downstairs.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy how much it's grown, and some of the brands I couldn't even get close to the actual booth. That it was like you had to wait to see a watch, and it's a kind of a bit annoying when you got 100 brands to get through, and it's like, well, you have to pick and choose. And but yeah, it's still the best watch fair I've ever been to. I mean, granted, it's the only watch fair I've ever been to, but considering I like the access, and I like talking to that's the only thing I miss about the old ones is that it felt a little bit more personal. It wasn't so frenetic. I don't know. How did you all go?
I'm the only one that's local to it. So
where are you based?
I'm based in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, so I'm an hour by train from the city. So I just take the train in, and
your accent completely fooled me. You don't sound like a.
This is not your standard New Jersey accent.
No. Imagine if it
admit.
was. That would be hilarious. You just go over the river and they all talk like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seiko Todd's the only one that lives in America that's American originally.
Yeah. You got to have one of us here, just one. That's all you need.
Where are you based, Todd?
Well, I was for a long time, for the last 25 years until a year ago, I was in South Jersey when you were in Philly.
Right.
And so I'd see you post like around Philly, and I'm like, I know where that is, and I'm like, I want to bump into them. But I'm in Central Virginia now. My wife and I found a house on a lake here in Central Virginia, and we've kind of relocated now.
Is it more rural where you're living?
There's not a traffic light for 25 minutes from my house.
Oh, sounds like heaven. Yeah. Nice.
Wow. Awesome. So you were you on the you were on the Island Watches stand, were you, for that time?
I couldn't even get close to it.
Oh, really?
Couldn't even get close. I mean, I waved and then I left, I don't think Mark was there. I went on Saturday. I did a panel.
Yeah, Mark wasn't there on Saturday.
Right.
He had it was either a sporting event or a wedding. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah,
he was only there.
Family.
He was only there Friday and Sunday. He had a family thing on Saturday, so that came first, quite rightly.
Right. Yeah, of course. I had to do a panel thing, which was slightly terrifying, and then I wandered about for about an hour and a half, and then I got hungry, so I left.
What was the panel about?
They had Andrea Maggi, the CEO of Squale. So I managed to cut, because his English is very good, but I think they do like a what's it called? Questions with the audience at the end. So he needed a little bit of translation. But obviously, being the biggest Squale fan in the world, it was only logical and I'm there. So, but it was great. He's a cool guy. He's very cultured, and he grew up with Von Buren. He introduced me to Monique Von Buren, and he's kind of like diving royalty. Like, really is like he's a diver himself. So, just kind of telling that story and because it's still not known. So because it's not a what would they call it when they restart the brand? It's not one of those. It's a legitimate thing. So that was fun. It was okay. A little terrifying, but it was fun. Yeah.
And Mark, did you get to see the Squale one?
No, the only one that I saw was the Christopher Ward one. So I wanted to see the French one, but I think that was Sunday, and I was knackered. I was knackered on Sunday. I just because I'd been to Watch Time on Sunday as well.
Right.
I was just like, after I'd done another hour at Wind Up after Watch Time, I'm thinking, time to go home. I don't want to see another watch for a month.
Yeah.
really did not want to see another watch.
I don't blame you. I was way too hungover on because I did a thing with Vertex that night. So the thought of getting up and like dealing with that all over again was just I couldn't do it. I had to remain horizontal.
Do we want to answer Watch Addict's question?
Yeah. If you this one, because I mean, if you could only attend one event in the year, cost and travel no factor, would it be Wind Up or Watches and Wonders? I presume he's opening that out. So, Mark, you've been.
No, I've been to Dubai Watch Week. I've not been to Watches and Wonders. It comes down to which watches you want to see. So if we simplify the question a bit, if you could only go to Wind Up or Watch Time, I would only go to Wind Up. There is not enough at Watch Time that I care about, that I would want to see. And I think it's the same with Watches and Wonders. that's not my world. For the most part, that's not my watch world. I get a lot of the watches on an intellectual level, but none of them get my credit card twitching. So, I mean, I'd like to see Watches and Wonders just to say I've been there and experienced it. You might also have Geneva Watch Days. That might be more fun, I think, a bit more relaxed. But it's not necessary. You know, I'm not into the $100,000 independents. I'm not a Rolex fanboy. So for me, if it was Watches and Wonders or Windup, I'd take Windup. But it really depends on where you are in the, you know, where you see yourself as a watch fan.
TGV, did you ever do like Baselworld or Watches and Wonders or anything?
I get invited, but they do it like they invite me 2 weeks before, and it's like I have a family and a life and a job, and it's like how much I'm supposed to drop everything, and you know, to be honest, it's not really my thing either. The hype around it just turns me off, and I'd rather look at a Casio, you know, to be honest. But that's just me. I'm sure it's wonderful. I'm sure it's wonderful, and I will go one day, so I can say I've gone and never go again, most likely. So,
yeah, I'd like to see like the spectacle of it. I think that's what would draw me rather than the watches itself. But yeah, we went to Watch Time last year. But what was interesting was I think the most interesting thing was to say that I'd been there because it's in an episode of Billions, that Gotham Hall. I don't know if anybody watches Billions, but they used it as a set piece.
I vaguely remember that.
They turned it into a casino.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, did I go around Watch Time with you, Sam? Because the roof at Gotham Hall leaks. So, and the worst leak was over Parmigiani. So it was just dripping on the tonders.
yeah. They had these like sort of temporary cardboard trash cans. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
just to stop the roof leaking.
Yeah, because it was dead. Because that was actually the way it was. I guess it was an old bank or something, but the way it was laid out was difficult, wasn't it? Because it has like a central ring, and it's quite close quarters. Was it there again, Mark? No, couldn't.
Yeah, it's always it's at Gotham Hall again. I only went on the Sunday, and there was a very short line to get in, but the line was about 40 people. It wasn't busy. I mean, that was 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, so it's New York. There's an excuse, but the brands were saying that even the cocktail event on the Friday was not as well attended as it was last year. I mean, that's $150 ticket on the Friday.
Is that how much it costs?
That was what it cost last year. I didn't check the price this year because I had no intention of paying it.
That's a lot of
but
money.
The brands, I don't think the footfall at Watch Time was as good this year as it was last year. That's the impression I got because I went around asking people since I was there, how's it going? How's the Friday? And the general consensus was that the footfall wasn't as good as it was last year.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know, because that certainly wasn't the case at Windup. So the tickets were for the Saturday and the Sunday had gone up by $5. But the audience that goes to Watch Time doesn't care about a $35 ticket versus a $30 ticket. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
But certainly that it wasn't as busy as I was expecting, which is great because you've got more time with the watches.
Yeah.
But if they've got a sniff of a real customer, they don't care about the casual walk around.
I noticed that actually at Watch Time, yeah. Although they did have G-Shock was there, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, G-Shock was there with the Mr. G stuff, and you had at least one brand. It was Nordisch Instrument Müller Grasuta was at both.
Sorry.
So
no worries.
Okay.
Oh, Miguel, yeah. Hey, Miguel. Yeah, because and I think they had what's the name there as well, didn't they? Forgetting the name. Anyway, the Kinesi brand, or the one that had used Kinesi movements. I'm going to forget it now. Norcane.
Yeah, but Norcane only goes to Watch Time now.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Okay,
so how many brands were at Watch Time?
I don't have an exact number, I'm afraid, but it was about 30. Which is kind of what they do, kind of where it's been for a while. They don't pack the brands in. They want the brands to have space, which I can understand given the the quality of the watches that they have.
Yeah.
Did they have like in that central bit? Did they have like, because last year they had like Moser, didn't they? And Bell and Ross.
Yeah, Moser was there. Had a good chat with the Moser guys. Bell and Ross was there. Armin Strom was there. MB&F was there with about 3 watches. Let me see. So there's all the people you'd expect. I didn't see. I was hoping to see Jacob and Son, and they weren't there, but Arnold and Co were there instead.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of these watches, personal view, I can appreciate them intellectually, but even if I could afford them, they don't excite me aesthetically.
If you had the money, if you like swimming in DuckTales money, would you indulge or not?
Only Armin Strom. I'm an Armin Strom fanboy. They're on my Grail list. Since I am not going to get there, it's a good chance to see them because you can't see them anywhere else.
Yeah. Was there any particular brand that like you didn't hold in the highest regard, but then when you saw it or you understood something about it, you started to like, be more interested?
Those Tondas, the Parmigiani Fleurier Tonda.
Really?
See them in real life? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the Moser Streamliner watches.
Streamliner. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to Google that.
That's their more modern watch with the sort of integrated bracelet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely so those two, seeing them in real life, but the rest of it is kind of what I expected to see.
Yeah, they had sold Moser when I was back home in Manchester. They had Moser in the Watches of Switzerland in the high street in the St. Anne's Square there. Quite surprised to see. Yeah, they had like 5 or 6 models of Moser. They had a Streamliner as well in there. But yeah, it was, and they had like a window full of Patek as well, but also kind of not really. We went in and had a little cheeky look. They had some bargains on a Hublot, but they were like 100 grand down to 80 or something, so a little bit rich.
I'll have to.
Oh yeah, so Watch Addict saying at a question as well, is Windup a selling event only for exhibition? Anything for sale on the spot?
I think it depends on the brand. So there were some brands that were only showing, but they would quite happily point you to a QR code. Christopher Ward were definitely selling, but I don't know that they were selling from stock on the booth. They were taking orders, so you could put, you could hand over your credit card and they'd give you a receipt for shipping for the UK, I think. I didn't ask a lot of the brands if they were selling. In years past, they have sold. Nicholas from Fears, he used to attend with his New York boutique, so that was stock that he knew he was going to sell. I don't know that was the case this year. I didn't ask him. But in previous years, it's been a selling show. You could certainly buy stuff, but I think it was you buy to have delivered rather than take away on the show. Not entirely sure, but I think that was the case.
And then we've got another one saying, where was it? Mark, any brands or watch models that stood out at Windup?
Okay. Nautische Instrument Müller Glashütte, their blue dial moon phase. I think I sent Sam a photograph of it.
Let's have a look.
Can I just say hello to John? Mio fratello John.
Oh yeah, John the watch guy. Oh no, that's Jason, sorry. Oh, John D.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Let's just find it. Is that that's Sophia's? I might not have it then. Is it this one? No. Yes, this one.
That's one of their watches, yeah. But they've come on leaps and bounds, but they have a blue dial moon phase. This robot watch, that's the one you're showing now. I've never seen color flop. There you go. That one.
Oh. Hello.
Yeah. Absolutely stunning. Doesn't work. They have a white dial version, which looks awful, but in the dark blue, absolutely stunning.
It's so funny. You can look at a watch and you can just instantly tell that's German, isn't it?
Yeah, and It's got that German, the Glashütte formalism written all over it. And of course, it's got 15-mile lugs, which is generally the clue. It's a 40-millimeter watch that barely fits my wrist because the lugs are outrageously long. And that's a Glashütte thing. But yeah, I mean, on wrist, that's absolutely stunning. I think it's about $3,000 in the US.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's quite reasonable.
And if Sam can find it, another watch that was very, very interesting was the Le Bon Caesar. That's the funky square shape one.
This one.
That one.
Oh, wow. That's nuts.
Oh,
look at that hand.
Yeah. This is a brand that's run by a couple of architects. So, you know, they employ architects to design the watches, and they're architects who are watch enthusiasts. So this was designed by a Spanish architect who is, I think, currently 91, still working.
Wow.
And they had him design this piece.
Look at the position of the crown. It comes down.
It's modeled after a swimming pool, but it makes much more sense on wrist, and it's titanium case. It's an ETA movement. Makes much more sense on wrist. But I'd say this was either the moon phase or this would be my watches of the show. Because I just wasn't expecting to like them as much as I actually did when I saw them.
What was the damage on that one?
2,700 euros, which is again about $3,000 US.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Todd, you need one of these for your Saab, your architect's car.
I can imagine
Spanish architects don't get that joke because I made that joke.
You'd have to make the
very interesting.
I presume it's sapphire, so you'd have to make the sapphire. You'd have to make everything would be minus the movement, unless they do some crazy stuff with the movement. Everything
it's a brushed titanium case, I think, and they have a dark blue one with Arabic numerals on that's with white.
Interesting.
Oh, is this the guy from the brand?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can sort of see there, can't you? The others.
Yeah, there's a couple of pictures right at the bottom of the stack. Is their other watch?
Eduardo Suto
de Mora.
Interesting.
He did the round watch that's at the bottom, so you should be able to.
This round one.
Yeah, but you can see it on the stack stack of images that you're showing. It's there as well.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
So this is the Eduardo Suto de Mora, his watch. It makes no sense in images. It's like, why is the 12 not where the 12 should be? If you put it on and you look at it on your wrist, it's just at the angle where the 12 points up.
Right.
But
Giugiaro
did this with Seiko.
Yeah.
But this is very slim. It's got a beautifully domed sapphire cover. Again, it's simple without being fake Bauhaus, because this has got nothing to do with Bauhaus. But it's that very modern simplicity that is increasingly rare in watches, I think, these days. But this is done right. And I think it's just because it's not done by watch designers.
Yeah.
But this is modern watch design for me done right. And for Sam, it's got a date.
Yeah. Big fan of the date. And that the date helps you orientate your eyes as well, doesn't it, to the way the watch is done.
Not when it's 30 degrees off the normal, it doesn't. But what else? The Christopher Ward Lumiere Grey.
Oh yeah, you've got that.
Was very nice.
There you go.
And in fact, that turned out to be their best seller. So of the three colors, that's the one that's selling best. Then, surprisingly, the orange is the second best seller, and the blue, which Christopher Ward thought would be the bestseller, is third.
I said it would be that. I reviewed the blue one, and I was like, "Oh, the blue one's the winner for you." That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's the grey that's by far the bestseller.
Yeah, because there's actually a surprising amount of engineering in this, isn't there? That's not immediately obvious. Like they've had to get the movement ratio right because the hands are so heavy because they're made from the
Loom.
Luma Globalite.
Yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah, it's a really nice.
So there wasn't enough torque on the movement to actually move the hands.
That's why they were skeletonized, because the movement couldn't handle the weight of the hand.
Yeah, because they're basically the hands are ceramic. They're ceramic blocks.
Yep.
They've of loom. The loom is suspended in the ceramic.
Interesting.
And it was good to see Jody from.
Oh yeah, you've got
Just One More Watch.
Where you had a picture of him.
I've got a picture of him somewhere.
There we go.
So he does exist. He's not AI generated, and in fact, he is much taller in real life than he looks on YouTube. I didn't say he was much heavier in real life than his images make him appear, which apparently had been said to him a few times. So
really?
I just went with your taller.
Looks quite athletic.
I had a nice chat with him. He had the new watches there that were very, very nice. They the GMT with the Pepsi, with the white dial and the Pepsi bezel is great. So
yeah, awesome.
It's not, to see people that you only see on YouTube is sometimes, I'm not the star spotter that Sam is. Sam knows if you've got 3 subscriptions and are a watch reviewer on YouTube, Sam knows who you are.
I got spotted in the supermarket the other day, the first time I'd ever been spotted out in the wild.
So yeah, it was fun. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Sorry to go back to the Christopher Ward, the grey one. How much is that? Just out of interest.
Are they like 2000?
Is it 2003?
I think it's something like that. Yeah,
it's 2003 on the bracelet, I think.
Yeah, and it's if you've ever seen their light catcher case, this is an even more refined version of their light catcher case. A lot of people are sort of saying it's the Pelagos.
It is the best version of the light catcher case.
Yeah, this is an absolutely incredible watch. They've also chronometer certified. Is it an SW330 in it, Mark, or SW300?
I believe it's a 300-ish.
Yeah. It's an amazing watch, and that bezel is, even though the whole thing is titanium, the bezel is an amazing action, and they've rejigged the they've got a push button extension on the fly, micro adjust on the buckle on the clasp, and they re-engineered it for that watch. So even though it looks similar to their Trident 300, they've actually it's completely redesigned.
Well, they come a long way, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll send it. Yeah, I interviewed Will Bracknell, who's the designer of this watch, on the launch day of this, and he talked through all of the individual elements that they've gone through, because they've been working with this company that makes the Globalite, this solid loom blocks, for a while. And
is that like the one on the Vertex?
Yeah, like Lumabrite. I think some people call it Lumabrite, don't they? But they call it Globalite.
Right.
It's made by a company called Xenoprint, and the trade name is Globalite.
Right.
Sorry,
very cool.
I've become, in my old age, a who makes what component nerd. I don't care about the watches anymore. I just care about who makes the loom. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, but it's suspended in a ceramic, isn't it? They make the ceramic block with the loom inside it, and it's incredible. When it glows.
Imagine,
yeah, they're slightly beveled. I think actually when I was interviewing Will, I think this actually shows a lot of restraint, because they could have gone over the top with this and made it look a little bit cartoonish. But when you see it in person, even in an image,
it walks a fine line.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's but they do it. Yeah, they do a blue version with a gradient dial, fume dial, and then the orange is a fume, I think, as well.
Yeah, they all are. The orange is the orange and the grey have the most subtle fume. I mean, the blue's a bit on over the top for me.
Yeah. Yeah, but they've been doing amazing with this, and then obviously the 12 series, that 12X that they released, and the Bel Canto, of course, going great guns. Have you seen one of those Bel Cantos TGV in person?
Yeah, actually, I was one of the first to review it because they lent me the sample that I think it was still even like one of the final before the sale one, not a prototype, but like a yeah, it was nice. I really liked it. I obviously because I really liked what they were doing technically, but also being like it sounds pretentious, but being a opera fan, bel canto, the key they were using, it just and being British Italian, it totally made sense to me, and it was so refreshing. And it's just even to see how far they've gone since then, that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I can't even remember.
Yeah, it's got to be two-ish years.
Yeah,
2 or 3.
October 22 for the first one.
Yeah. I very nearly pulled the trigger, but I couldn't because it was not that one I had was not for sale. I had to return it. It was not for sale. In fact, actually, John, who's in the comments, he was with me that day. I went to pick it up, and I would have had the premiere of it, but I was already working on another video, and if you promise that you're going to do this and do that, and I can't really back out of what I've already said I'm going to do. So anyway, but it was very impressive stuff. Very impressive.
Yeah, that opera connection is quite close to Mike Francis' heart because his daughter's quite an accomplished opera singer.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's where
she's lead soprano for the Scottish Opera, or she was.
Wow. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah, he spent some time, didn't he, traveling? He's in France or somewhere, wasn't he? Or maybe he went to Italy. He was traveling with
probably went to Milan, La Scala or something.
Yeah. So that's good. So that's even more of a nice tie-in to the whole thing. But yeah, I think I interviewed him. Oh yeah, so John D saying October 2022. So yeah, so just 2 years.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. Even in that 2 years, what they've done, it's just insane.
Yeah, they released because very traditional sort of dive watch racing watches, weren't they, before then? And since then, they did the Bel Canto, and then they did the 12. They did the 12X.
I had one of the very first original Tridents they did with the old logo that had this kind of Times New Romanesque font.
The Charward.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Charward one.
Yeah, and I remember I bought it online, which was, back then it was kind of a weird thing to do. People didn't want to sell watches like that, It's so crazy how things have changed. But anyway,
they're really and they've got the whole supply chain kind of dialed in, haven't they? Each one of these new watches, they've obviously got the Swiss manufacturing facility, and then they're all their supply chain lined up as well to really start ramping stuff up. So yeah, big fans of Christopher Ward on the channel. If nobody's mentioned that yet. Okay, well, yeah. So TGV, was this the launch of the GMT? Was this at Windup with Mark, your Island watch?
Oh yeah. This I didn't want to talk about it because I don't want to plug things.
No, please do.
The range. Shall I put it in focus for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, very nice.
With the skeletonized case, so it's skeletonized on the sides and on the top, and then we did this. Cool. The dial is like I described it as like the Colosseum. It's like really 3-dimensional with different levels for the different hours, and then the screws. Because when I did the original sketches, Mark was like, he's like, "What did the screws do?" And I said, "Well, can you make them attach the straps? Because I wanted 2 screws on each side. So if there's a spring, I don't want spring bar failures. I want it integrated." And he worked his magic. I mean, he went back and forth, and we went through sketches and prototypes, and he really made it a reality. So kudos to him, because this is where his aerospace background, engineering background, really came into. He really did a fantastic job, and then we just went crazy because we've done two. Well, this is the Rangemaster 2, but we've done the Rangemaster, the original, and then the mechanical. But they're just field watches, and they're very traditional, like the Explorer that I love, little elements from the Ranger from Tudor, blah blah blah. So we thought we'd have real fun with this one and just go crazy. So something different. So yeah,
it's using that 9075, isn't it? The Miyota movement.
I think so.
Yeah. Because that's been a real. I mean, I've reviewed it in a couple of brands now. That like Jack Mason love it, and then it was Zelos are using it as well.
Yeah, the not to toot my own horn, but the Boulevard, I can't remember. Was it Clifton or Cliff? I can't remember. They gave me access because obviously Citizen and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I reviewed it and I gave it a very honest review, and I honestly thought they would never talk to me again because it was oversized and they did a few things, and I was just being respectfully honest, and they were very upset with me. But anyway, so I honestly didn't think we were going to be able to get our hands on the movement. So, but they actually listened to what I said in that review when it first came out. I think it might have been 2022 or 20. I can't remember. And they actually listened and they made improvements, and the GMTs they've done since are much better, much more cohesive. And anyway, it was just I think it was a misfire on their first attempt. So and I wanted to do this design actually. I had it designed years ago, but we just couldn't get the movement. So many people wanted that if you can't get the movement, then you can't make a GMT. So, and I'm not going to do. I wanted the Travelers GMT. I'm not gonna, if you do it, go all the way. So anyway.
Yeah, I prefer that one. Yeah, it's Citizen are actually quite good to work. They've been very good to me in the past. They're quite good to work with. But they do. I once said that I reviewed a Citizen watch and said that it was a Miyota movement inside, and they did correct me on that. They say no, the Citizen movements are a separate entity in their minds, and they've just bought Duperret as well, haven't they?
Yeah, that's a really interesting company, and there's so much potential there. Have you seen one yet in person?
Yeah, I've reviewed a Fears that had the Le Duperret in it, and then the Jack Mason, the Canton, new Jack Mason Canton, and that's got it in there as well.
I'm totally unfamiliar with that brand. I'm some brands they just pass me by completely, but I will I'll check that out. I was really impressed. I saw one in the Frédéric Constant, and there's so much potential there. Anyway, thank you, Eric. By the way, very kind of you to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very good looking watch.
Thank you. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people absolutely love it, and that's what we wanted. We done. So,
yeah, and the bracelet you've made looks like sort of classic Seiko kind of.
Oh, it's from a Casio. It's from the data bank.
Oh, okay,
cool.
It's just really like Mark. There we go. Is it focusing? There we go. Just Mark basically made it into a tank, basically.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there were certain things I also wanted, but we couldn't do it within budget because the first round or first prototypes we were looking at, over 1,000, and it was just like, who's going to buy that an Islander this crazy for? It's just so then you start being like Seiko, and it's like, well, can we put it on a crappy crocodile strap? And I'm like, no. Nah, he didn't suggest that, but I understand like the predicament that certain brands have to go through because it's always dictated by the movement and the budget, you know.
Right.
Anyway.
But yeah, the brutalist style is different. I kind of dig, what you've done with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, like a samurai, a little bit like a Seiko did with the samurai is a kind of I call it brutalist design as opposed to the turtle, which is more circular and softer. So yeah, I think it's well done.
Yeah, looks very good.
Thank you.
Awesome. And was it well received at the show? Do you know? Did Mark say?
I have no idea. I think a lot of people were confused by it because obviously, there's a lot of is it pronounced Weirdland, and the dial is Rolex 1655, which in my opinion is one of the best GMT. If you look at the way they've done the hours, it's just so logical. Like they have the 12 hours on one area, and then slightly moved out, and then you got the 24. It's just such a logical. I don't understand why Rolex, that was such a huge flop for Rolex in 1971 or whenever it came out. Because it was, and of course, typical Rolex fashion. You can't buy one now, and you can't find a decent one, and so I always wanted to do something with that dial. So to do it with a crazy case and skeletonize it was just really, kind of. I don't want to say dream come true. That sounds corny, but it was not. I didn't think it was going to be possible, especially at the budget we got it at. So, but again, kudos to Mark because he knows his stuff. He's very shrewd at engineering. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
No.
I don't want to bore you with my stuff.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, we had a couple of people had put the Lynn Werderlin with another brand that's
pronounce them. They got some really cool designs, but what are they doing now? They just seem to have disappeared.
Yeah. And I mean, a case design. People have been going at it for a long time, haven't they? Different designs and stuff like that. It's hard to.
Yeah. Nothing is original. Like the hands are true to Ranger. We just segmented them to enhance the so you can tell them apart better. And the GMT hand is basically an Explorer 2. The font is not the Explorer. It's something else. I forget. But I think it works. I think it works together, and I love it. I was gonna wear it today, but I didn't want to look at my anyway. I got this one. I also worked on, so it's that went out the window. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, we're equal opportunities for promotions on this channel.
Nice. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
Yeah. So here you go. So Jason the Watch Guy says, obviously put more work into it than Protected with their cube watch, the Cubitus.
I quite like it. I have to admit.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's divided so much opinion. Did you see that somebody that's done a meme where they did a triangle called the Triangulus or something, and they've just they photoshopped it so it's
I
like
can imagine that.
Yeah. It's but it's quite the it was quite the stir. But it's out of the price range of most people, isn't it? Or even accessibility of most people. So I'm
sure in time people will accept it. I'm sure they will. They just need to get used to that. I saw quite a clever thing breaking down the ratio and the Fibonacci sequences and how it was used to determine the width of the bezel and how the case relates to that bezel and blah 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 and all this stuff. And I was thinking, yeah. But to be honest, my first reaction was just like, oh, that's kind of I like that, and that was it. And I just moved on with my life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Yeah, I guess a lot of the Well, I suppose people were kind of pointing at them and saying, "Look, you decided to move away from the Nautilus, which you really wanted, and then you've made a Nautilus-ish, I suppose, looking watch." But yeah, it's yeah, like you
but
say.
you gotta also think about it from their perspective, in the fact that what is the budget for this thing? You know, like how many hundreds of millions are going to go into this to and then especially in a quite volatile. I know they're the top dogs or whatever, but they still have to make, you know, quarterly budgets and blah 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 and all the rest of it. They're still a business at the end of the day, and they can't do something so crazy. And at the same time, it to me, I thought it was a kind of a logical step. You know, that when you see something, you think, oh, you would have thought of it eventually. It's kind of like, yeah, that makes sense, you know. So I don't know if well, maybe they can do some crazy stuff on a smaller scale, you know. But I don't know. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no. Yeah, see if we've got any other comments coming through. I suppose going back to Windup, Mark, was there anything that we missed off of you? I mean, you sent through a great. Thank you for sending the photos over. I know how difficult it is sometimes to get your photos.
No,
Was there
I
anything
mean,
else that's
you know, I would say if you can be there, all the wind-up shows, I think, talking to the brands have been very good this year. But it's New York is the one that if you only go to one, go to New York. Is the one is what I would say.
Oh, you got a great image of it. You got a great image of Nicholas there.
Yes, Nicholas.
With his grandfather.
Nicholas Bowman Scargill of Fears. He's if you look at there's a picture a couple below. You see with the blue rotor.
Oh yeah.
So that's the Fears, and he's just basically saying, "I wish we had done open case backs before. It's been transformational."
Oh really? So this is the boutique, the back of the boutique only, is it?
But you know, now they've got the open case back. It's basically, you know, sort of transformed Fears. Is what, you know, that is just driving sales, and I think that's a Le Joux Paré.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, the way it's finished and that color of rotor, I can see how that would tip people over the I don't know if I want to buy a Fears to now I want it. you can kind of see that compared to a plain case back.
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed that blue rotors. I think that must only be on the boutique only one, because my one didn't have that. The silver that I reviewed didn't have that rotor, so maybe it's just reserved that for the.
I'm not sure.
Did you see the jump
that's
power?
The boutique only mallard color.
Yeah.
On the Red Cliff.
There's the jump
mallard
power
color. That's so British.
Oh yeah, there's the jump power there.
There you go. I got to talk to Nicholas at Philly Red Bar after that, and he said that the show was just crazy. It was just so many people, and you know, it was somewhat exhausting. You know, for him and his crew, because there were so many things going on. He really liked the Red Bar because it was much more intimate, and I was able to talk to him, you know, for quite a length of time, and try on all the watches and what have you. So I will have a Fears watch in the future at some point. The one with the mother of pearl dial is just the mother of pearl collection, which is this one here. Is just you probably can't see it too. Oh yeah, that came through pretty well. Now this is the pink one, but they have a blue mother of pearl dial too, which is just it's gorgeous. Let me see if I have a picture. Oh, here it is. This is the one I want right there. Is he had this at the show. And the way they constructed the dial, the way they made the numbers work in terms of different platings and coatings. There's gold on some of the numbers, or on the numbers rather. I've forgotten how the formula works. Mark's much better at that with chemistry, but each dial is different. They're all unique. So once you get one of those, you know, there won't be one that's exactly the same.
It's like a very British refined radio mirror.
Yeah, you're right. There is some commonality in the case shape. I think you're right. Yeah, that's true. And of course,
that's
smaller.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but it's a gorgeous watch.
Thank
and
God
it's accessible too, price wise. It's accessible. It's not crazy. I think it was somewhere between $3,500 to 4,000.
Yeah, I'll pull it up on. I'll pull it up on
Yeah,
here.
you can just order
because,
them.
it was a little bit. It was distorted on your thing. So you're talking about this one, the blue mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Yep. I'd get one on. Their bracelets are fantastic. They're not only gorgeous.
This is why I don't want to see these.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah. It was this is this so this one TGV is a jump hour, but it's the similar similar movement or similar
it's a Christopher Ward jump hour movement.
The bel canto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So they collaborated on it.
Well, so but the history is that Christopher Ward made this movement for a company called Meistersinger.
Meistersinger, the German.
Yeah, they make it for
They is it what is it, Mark? They make 80% of the watches on their behalf, is it, or something? It's a high percentage.
Let me see.
If you have a factory, most watchmakers do this. I've been in so many factories, and they're quickly hiding other brands because they don't. You didn't see this. Every single factory I've ever been, I've seen that.
As I understand it, Meistersinger were a customer of Synergy Horloger before Christopher Ward bought that atelier in Switzerland. So that what is now Christopher Ward Holdings still assembles watches for Meistersinger. I don't know that all of Meistersinger. I don't know that Meistersinger's low power reserve jump hour watches are Christopher Ward or the JJ01.
JJ01, yeah.
But certainly the longer power reserve watches are SH21 based. So, but they certainly do assemble and are quite open. I don't know that Meistersinger are quite open about it, but Christopher Ward certainly say we assemble watches for Meistersinger. And they've had that relationship before Christopher Ward was involved anyway. So
yeah, so this JJ01, the different module is what's in the bel canto, isn't it? A reconfigured version.
Yeah, the bel canto took this jump hour module, essentially turned it upside down, and where it jump hours, that's how you turn the striker. So it's there's a lot more. I think they say there's 60 extra parts in it, but the concept was this jump hour watch.
Yeah, because they basically like power reserved it, didn't it? So on this watch, the jump hour flips like immediately instead of like gradually, and they use that power then they used it for the Bell Aura first, which was the Meistersinger's chiming watch, and then they modified it for the bel canto. Wow. But it's on a Sleater. It's built on a Sleater SW200, isn't it? The module on top of it.
Yep.
Same with the bel canto.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it's an amazing watch. I got to hold that one too. It's and you're right. If you ever held a Hamilton, where they have the full day of the month or full day of the week, and then the date, and when it just snaps like that, and it's amazing how fast that snaps.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Cushion case, very nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, let's
just that mother of pearl down.
Yeah, in
person. Yeah, I forget what the channel name is, but I think Sophie, one of the other YouTubers, she's got one, the blue one, and I think also Lucy at Watchbox Diary, she reviewed I think the blue one or the pink one on her channel. Yeah, that blue one's spectacular in person. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Okay, well, let's just see if there's any more questions come through. I think I can't see any coming off the thing. We went through all of Windup, didn't we? We did some new releases. Well, should we wrap it up there, guys? How is everyone feeling? Anything else we wanted to talk about?
Good for today.
Yeah. Well, it was lovely to meet you.
It was lovely to meet you. I've been a subscriber to the Urban Gentry for a long time.
Yeah,
very much like your time.
Yeah. Normally at this time, Sam's wife is banging the saucepans, expecting him to cook. He's got us trained.
It's not because the cooking process has started. It's because it needs to be started usually.
What time do you eat?
Well, yeah, about so my wife works for Disney and she starts like super early in the theme park.
Oh, is that why you're down there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we moved here first, but yeah. So
Right.
she starts pretty early. So yeah. So by about 5:30, 6 o'clock. But anyway, there you go. I know we're a little bit early for the UK guys as well, aren't we? We actually went an hour early. So thanks everyone for that joined us from the UK. Excellent. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for the panel for joining, and thanks everyone for joining us this week. And we'll see you next week on Casual Watch Talks.
Don't forget to upvote.
Thanks, everyone.